Anvi Sharma was a journalist. She had a knack for uncovering the truth, no matter how deeply it was buried. Her colleagues often marveled at her dedication and fearlessness. She loved old, abandoned places. The more decrepit and forgotten, the better. These places held secrets that modern buildings could never offer. Anvi sought out their hidden stories. She spent countless hours in dusty archives, piecing together fragments of history that others had long forgotten. She had a passion for the mysteries they held. Each artifact, each symbol, was a clue in a larger puzzle that she was determined to solve. Her quest led her to Shyamphur. The village was quiet, almost eerily so. It seemed like a place frozen in time, untouched by the hustle and bustle of the modern world. It was known for Haveli Shyamphur. The mansion was a grand structure, now crumbling and overgrown with vines, but still imposing. The mansion stood on a hill. From its vantage point, it seemed to watch over the village, a silent guardian of its secrets. The villagers whispered about it. Their stories were filled with fear and superstition, passed down through generations. They said it was haunted. Strange noises, ghostly apparitions, and unexplained events had all been reported. The Haveli had been empty for a century. Its once grand halls now stood silent, filled only with the echoes of the past. A mysterious event had driven its residents away. No one knew exactly what had happened, but the fear it instilled was still palpable. No one dared to go near it. But Anvi was different. She was not one to be easily scared off by tales of ghosts and hauntings. She was drawn to the unknown. The more mysterious and unexplained, the more it called to her. This was her story to uncover. Anvi approached the Haveli. The air grew cold. She felt a shiver down her spine. The once grand mansion was now decaying. The windows were boarded up. The paint was peeling. The garden was overgrown. Anvi pushed open the creaking gate. She stepped inside. Silence greeted her. It was an eerie, heavy silence. The only sound was the rustling of leaves. Shadows danced in the faint sunlight. They seemed to writhe and whisper. Anvi felt a presence. She was not alone. Anvi explored the Haveli. Each room was covered in dust and cobwebs. Furniture lay broken. It was as if time had stood still. In a room with a dusty fireplace, she found a diary. It was old, its pages brittle. The ink was faded. Anvi read the diary. It belonged to a young woman who lived in the Haveli. The woman wrote of strange occurrences. She mentioned shadows. She heard whispers. She felt a presence. The woman warned that the Haveli was not safe. It was haunted. Section 4. The Secret Passage. Anvi felt a chill run down her spine as she stood in the dimly lit room. The air was thick with mystery and anticipation. The diary's words rang true, echoing in her mind. Each sentence seemed to guide her steps. She continued exploring, driven by an unexplainable force. Behind a bookshelf, she found a hidden door. It was cleverly concealed, almost as if it was meant to be a secret forever. It led to a secret passage, dark and foreboding. The walls were lined with cobwebs, and the air was thick with the scent of damp stone. The air was cold and damp. The passage was dark, with flickering shadows dancing on the walls. Anvi followed the passage, her heart pounding in her chest. It led down, deeper into the earth. Each step she took echoed in the silence, amplifying her sense of isolation. Finally, she reached a heavy wooden door. It stood at the end of the passage, imposing and mysterious. It was at the end of a narrow staircase, barely lit by the faint light seeping through the cracks. The door was old and scarred, bearing the marks of time and untold stories. There were strange markings on it. They looked like bloodstains, adding to the door's ominous presence. Anvi hesitated, her hand hovering over the handle. She felt fear, but also curiosity. The unknown beckoned her, and she couldn't resist its call. She pushed the door open, the creak of the hinges echoing in the silence. What lay beyond was a mystery waiting to be uncovered. Section 5. The Spirit's Release. The room was dark and cold, a chilling silence enveloping the air. Shadows danced on the walls, creating an eerie atmosphere that sent shivers down Anvi's spine. A single lantern flickered in the center, its weak light barely piercing through the oppressive darkness. The flame wavered as if struggling against an unseen force. In the dim light, Anvi saw him, a ghostly figure, almost translucent, standing silently. Her heart raced. but she stood her ground. He was tall and gaunt, his clothes old and tattered, remnants of a time long past. His presence was both sorrowful and haunting. He looked at her with sadness in his eyes, a deep, unspoken pain that seemed to echo through the room. He was the spirit of the Haveli's former owner. He was trapped, bound to this place by the weight of his tragic past. Anvi listened to his story, her heart aching with every word. The tale of betrayal and loss was almost too much to bear. He spoke of betrayal and a broken heart, of trust shattered and dreams turned to dust. His voice was a whisper, filled with sorrow. He had been murdered in this very room, his life cruelly taken by those he once called friends. The walls seemed to echo his pain. Anvi felt compassion for the trapped spirit, her resolve strengthening with each passing moment. She knew she had to help him find peace. She promised to uncover the truth of his death, to bring justice to his restless soul. Her words were a vow, a pledge to the spirit. As she spoke, a sense of peace settled over the room. The air seemed lighter, the shadows less menacing. It was as if her promise had lifted a burden. The lantern flickered and died. The spirit was gone. Anvi left the Haveli, her mind racing with thoughts of what she had just experienced. The village was quiet, but the silence felt different now, as if the very air had changed. The weight of the spirit's story lingered in her heart. Was the spirit truly free? Or had she merely scratched the surface of a deeper mystery? Or would it haunt the halls of Haveli Shamfa forever, a silent guardian of its own tragic tale?